Hey guys, let's continue. So this is our current state, almost done. But we're gonna get there. It's all right. Like, we make good progress. Oh, and this one doesn't have a background. Do you see that? We need to fill the background. Okay. Let's do the background for a second. So we do a full page rectangle. So we would have to set the fill color, of course. Set filling color space. Set RGB fill. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that didn't work. $127. Set RGB fill. Okay, then let's look at the docs. Graphics. Between 0 and 1, see colors. And it complains about invalid mode. Page description or text object. So you can't set the fill color in graphics mode. That sounds weird to say the least, but okay. Then let's do it like this. Better? Better. Oh, sure. We have to change the fill color back to whatever the text color is going to be, which we can't set right now. Maybe we just don't. Maybe don't put all of this in it. Well, maybe we have to. Because it's going to affect the first page. Does it blend? It blends. Awesome. It works. And now in preview, where did we see this? Here. Now we actually have a white background page instead of a transparent one. Okay. Honestly, I want to do this with metaprogramming, I think. Just take every single function call in here and wrap it in a macro. Maybe this is something useful. This is going to save us a bunch of time. On the other hand, I probably should do the table stuff instead of getting distracted by this one. Let's delete all the not even properly indented error checks because I just copy pasted them all over the place. Okay, let's do the actual thing. I have about an hour or something, maybe an hour and a half. Let's see how long I work today. To turn this one into a decent table, which means at least we should do the table cell rendering properly, then we do borders, then we do padding. How about that? So that means render text needs to get a rectangle in which it should render. What do we do with overflow? So if we say we have a max width, do we actually clip in a rectangle, or do we just set the start position and width and let it flow inside? That should be good enough. If it's less than 0, then we say left is, no, actually this is, left boundary is a float. If start x is less than 0, then we say left boundary is page margins 3. And then we have an actual width that we wrap at, yeah. Let's replace them with left boundary and right boundary, and we say oh no, let's call them, you know what, I changed my mind again. This is min x, this is max x. Okay. So we say inner min, or inner is a bad word. Haru min x. If min x is less than 0, then we say haru min x is the page margin, else haru min x is page margins plus min x. And we do the same. Oh yeah, that's the, wait, I said max x here versus width. Do I want the width or max x? Let's call it max width, actually. It's not the same. Let's go back to max width. So width is max width. This can stay the same. So this is not right. If I say width, it sounds like that's from min x. No, that's actually fine. It is from min x. But if you provide just a min x, then it should flow until the end of the page. So what we do here is not quite right. So here we should say, instead of net page width, we should say page width minus right boundary minus min x. So this is PDF page get width minus right boundary, which is page margins 1 minus haru min x. Okay. And this is actually now not sure what I want here. Maybe it's clearer when we update all of this. So if the position, y we don't care about. We care about x. So remaining width is this is still fine. This is no Haru width. So this one, when we wrap, instead of position X plus page margins 3, we're gonna say Haru min X. This is Haru min X, and the rest, is that all we need to do to confine it? It sounds almost too easy. Let's see if it still looks the way it looked before. Nothing has changed. Good. With this, we can do proper columns. Hopefully. So we have in our, let's do this here. No, I wanted you to switch this one to model. I hate this. Whatever. Let's do it like that, because Vim makes everything hard. So we have a width in here. That's a relative width. So we're gonna say this width. So thanks, Yakins. Please don't add me with off-topic questions. But I'm feeling well. I have the feeling we make good progress. It was a bit slow in the morning, but then we picked up speed. Now we have this, and like this is going to turn into a table really quickly, I have the feeling. Get net page width. So these are our net dimensions. We might add outer padding. Not right now though. So this width is net dimensions times table columns it index. So by the way, assert row count is table columns count. Oh, we should, by the way, we didn't implement the flex width. Begin table, we get the column widths. We don't save the column widths. Am I stupid? Okay. If it dot width, if it's greater than 0, then we say specified width plus equals it dot width, else flexible columns plus equals 1, and then we do a second pass. If it width less than or equal to 0, it width is specified with assert specified width is greater than 0, assert flexible columns is less than call width count. If everyone's well, no, that's actually fine. if let me just take the full width. Shall we do it in percent? Like, shall we do it in dot instead of percent? Like right now I was assuming we do where is it? Begin table. We're doing it in percent, but we could also say point 15. We could also do this. I'm not sure what I prefer. Maybe integers are nicer. Maybe they're not. So if it's 0, we say it's 1. And then we say the width is specified width divided by flexible columns. So that gives everyone a specified width. Okay. Oh, and that's of course wrong. Let's do this the other way around. Unspecified width is 1 if assert unspecified width is greater or equal to 0. That's gonna... Hello, floating point errors. Unspecified width is 1. Unspecified width is... Wait, no. We don't need this now. We just make sure it's bigger than 0. And this is now unspecified width divided by non-flexible columns. So this now makes sense, hopefully. So now we have a width. So down here, we should be able in render row to say net dimensions times width. This is now a fraction. So this gives us the width of the column. We don't do borders, we don't do padding, we don't do call span. We do call span actually. Let's do call span. For 1 dot dot call span. This is so easy. Call span minus 1, call span minus 1. Width plus equals net dimensions times table columns plus which means we can do this like this if we properly initialize call span for everyone. Is that correct? I think that's correct. So we just implemented call span. It's easier because we don't have padding yet. It's going to get harder if we add padding. This happens first. This one has a... oh, you also need to define the start, not just the width. We do them back to back, so we can do this start or min x is 0, min x plus equals width, and then we can say Min x is min x, max width is width. And I probably forgot something. Oh yeah, we said we need to initialize call span properly for every content now. Assert data call span is less than table current row count, or let's do it like this. If data, we don't want to modify data though. If state content call span is less than 1, so 0 and 1 are equivalent for us. And then we say this plus state content call span must be less than or equal to table columns count. Otherwise we're unhappy. Then we add it. And then we add for the remainder, we add empty skipped rows. Okay. What's your problem? Call span is not a member of cell state. It's a member of content. Width is a float. Min-x is a float. Specified width, unspecified width, subtract. Okay, I don't know what to expect. I expect a table. No, we blew up. This is not good. So we have a width and a min-x. How about we draw lines? Debug lines. We don't have a height, but we can draw lines and see where they end up. So let's just take this fun. Oh, let's stroke. We do a rectangle from page margin 3 plus min x. Page margin is 2 plus position y. Width, and let's just take 10, whatever. Pages get current page, document, and of course let's see, where do we see that crap? That's not great, that's random. Okay. So we have call content, call span, it index, call span, we want the table column width, we want the final width, incorrect number of arguments, call span, oh I forgot X. So column 0, call span 1, x 0, width is 0. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. What? Oh, we did a net dimensions is no, it's fine. That's net. Sorry, this is not net dimension. I was confusing because I was confused because I misnamed this one because I thought we are gonna get the dimensions and I just got the width. And I was like, wait, how are we computing vector times float? Oh, there's probably an operator overload, but no, it's just a bad name. So the net, what's going on here? Let's look at it in a debugger. That's the easiest. I can do printf debugging, but why when we have a debugger? Net width is 5.2 something. Okay. Width is 0. Oh. Yeah, because this is still 1. I'm a moron. We changed this to do it for all of them, so I should start at 0. And this might already fix it. Ta-da! Not good, but better. Does it support negative heights? It does. Okay, so for some reason the first column seems to be out of bounds or something. Let's see what we dump. First width is 341. Okay. Description. Second column starts here. Is 78 big. Seems fine. It isn't obvious, obviously. Oh, this is here. Because we somehow decided that this doesn't fit. So this one... So VAT is already moved down, shouldn't be. And then amount is on the next page. Whoops. The width we pass in seems fine. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, one thing I forgot is to set the position. If we define min x, Hey Kyoto Käse, hi. What do we do? At the beginning of the column we should set the position, I guess. And we should set it in a way so that it's inside. So we should set the position to be min x and the y position needs to be adjusted. Problem is now we're getting inconsistent. If we say text starts at the position, like if I don't do -10, but instead do 20. Oh no, actually that's gonna be wrong. Yeah, we render this up, but the text goes down. Why? The text should go up from position as well, so I'm not sure. Oh, this is page margin 0. That's just wrong. That's why we use different margins so that we find these kinds of errors. It's worse. Awesome. Oh, because we add and don't subtract. Give me a second. No, actually 2 was right. We go from the bottom margin up. But position already includes the bottom margin, so this was wrong. Getting there. Okay. So now we have the problem that we want the whole text to be in the cell. This is the position, like the lower left corner of the D is, so this one is where the position is when we start the table. Now the question is, the general rule is that the baseline of the font is wherever, like this is, the position is where the baseline of the font starts. For a table, that's not really what you want. For the table, we want it to grow down. But how do we then determine the position we should use in the table for the font? I guess we could compute the size of the text inside. And then move the position. That actually makes sense. But that means we compute the position, like the size of the text, multiple times, which is a bit wasteful. But we're still gonna beat JavaScript. What do we expect with text? I guess we just top align everything for now. I'm thinking about how it should look when you have multi-row text in one. We can add that feature later. For now, we just align everything to the top. So we'd have to compute the dimensions of the content. And then adjust where we start based on that. So we would say row Y row starters position. We know the width. We compute the size, whatever we call that API. Compute text size. That one should take a font, etc. And we can hope that this one is correct because we actually haven't tried this one. We compute the text size with the font of the cell, etc. And we then just move. How much do we move? That's the question. Because this compute text size is actually, we just compute the width, and the height is something we add fixed, like we just add the line height. But the line height includes padding, and we don't know how much of that padding you want above it and how much you want below it. So the text is not going to be centered if we do it like this. We can look at, we have some font metrics available, like descenders, etc. We saw this somewhere. I think it's on the page. Was it not here? Descent. Font get descent. So we could get the descent, etc. Doesn't mean that the font actually stays in that one. Hey Silvio. That's not a serious question, is it? It's a table in a PDF. Why are these integers, by the way? No, it's not the distance you want to use for padding. There is some good picture of this. Somewhere, not here. I keep opening the same pages. So, this one, let's pick a crosshair. This is our current position. This hopefully is the descender height. But the descender height is actually a fixed metric that you specify in your font metadata. It doesn't actually mean anything compared to how big the descenders actually are, but that's a general issue, whatever. So the descender height is from baseline to bottom. The ascenders depends on if you take uppercase. So here, for example, this one is probably X height, and this one is possibly capital height. So the total size of your font for a well-behaved font, and many are not, is from the baseline upwards, the height of the capital, and downwards the descenders. So you go a bit above your position and a bit below your position. So the height of this line is actually the combination of those two, but it's centered around, it's not centered, but it overlaps position. So you can't just add it to position. You would have to get the bounding box of this text. Basically, you add the ascender height and you subtract the descender height from your position. That gives you a bounding box for your text. For multi-line text, this gets worse because you move. So once you've rendered this, you jump this one down by whatever your line feet is, like line height, we call it, which is usually more than that because you want some white space in between. So the line height might be something like this. Okay, so you jump down by this amount from here. I didn't want to take a screenshot. I'm just using the screenshot tool because it's useful for having an arrow across here. I mean, so to compute how we want to write the text in the cell, we can do the stupid version now, but it's not great. The stupid version would be, let's compute the height based on line height, and then just add the top padding and bottom padding and put the position at total height. So we're here, so we subtract one line height plus whatever the padding should be. But then we don't need to compute total height. Okay, let me show you what I mean. What we could do is we say position.y is row start.y minus, and now we need the height, which we get somewhere, line height. Like all of this just works because we have, we assume one font for this one right now. No, actually we can, no, see, we should do this here. The font size is column.style.font size times line height factor. So we set the Y position. We set the X position to min X. And we just render. You would need to add padding to this, but we're ignoring padding for now. And then here we'd say this will show you what's wrong. The rectangle is going to show you what's wrong with this approach. This is going to be, yeah, position of X is actually page margins 3 plus min X. So this is position.x with line height. Come on. Not a member of style. I it's directly here. Okay. So what does this give you? Now the descenders go below the thing because we moved from here down a line height. So we now start here, but we shouldn't start here. We should take the descenders into account. And then of course we need to add padding, and even if we take descenders into account, then it's still the descender is at the bottom. We should instead split the how shall I say this? The line height adds some padding at the top and the bottom. We don't know how much because it depends on all the font metrics. What kind of API do I need to make this right? Like we can take the descender height, of course. But this is an integer for some reason. So this is not actually a metric we can use. We'd have to look at, so this one says that the descent here is an integer. This one doesn't tell you anything about metrics, like units or anything. The documentation is really not great. Times font size divided 1,000. Is that the general metric for all the integers in here? We can try that. So we can say what's the function? Font get descent. And we give it the call font. Descender. Int height. What times float size divided by 1,000? If you subtract that, it's still not going to be fine. We can try to, okay, let's do the following experiment. Or shall we try cap height? That's the question. Well, we'll just try a bunch of things. Sender height is sender int height. Okay. Let's just log the differences. Do they fit within properly with a bit of wiggle room? That's the question. 10 point something minus 3 in 19. That sounds plausible. 13 in 19, 13 in 18. That sounds about right if you look at the... yeah, could be right. So what we actually need to do is... to get the proper position. Line padding is line height minus height minus ascender height. So this is basically the slack that's in a line. Slack line, and so we want to move down by ascender height plus half of the padding. That's still not quite right, but I think it gets us close to where we want to be. I messed this up. How did I mess this up? We want to move down by half the line padding plus the ascender height. How does this? It compiled. I ran it. It makes no difference. What? Because before we moved down by line height. And now we... see, ascender height plus line padding. So this is ascender height plus line height minus descender height. So the descender height falls out. No, half of descender height falls out. How can this be? I'm not getting something. Oh, damn it. Yeah, we saw that descenders are negative. These are not heights, these are offsets. So we have to add the descender offset. Still the same effect. It's trolling me. What's the padding? 5 pixels. So we take 2.5 pixels, 2.6 pixels plus the ascenders. So 13. We moved down by 13 before we moved down by 19. How can this result in the same thing? Makes no sense, right? Oh, never mind. I now render this one differently. So we moved it down, but I forgot that I changed how do we render the rectangle as well. So we moved the rectangle down as well. So that's why none of this made a difference visually, even though it made a difference of where we render the font. So this rectangle now should be from row start X, row start Y, width and line height, negative line height. That should be closer to it. Yeah, see, this is almost centered. This is kind of centered. Like you could add some padding, but you have a bit of padding down here, a bit of padding up here. You probably want more padding at the top than at the bottom because the most of the it looks not centered because you have almost no descenders and lots of ascending stuff. But this is now like centered in this. Oh, and actually width. Why is width so low? Width should be more. Or is this... Oh yeah, not row start, sorry. This should be... position X. My bad. Okay, so we got those. I don't know why we think we can't fit this. This is something we need to look at. But now at least the text starts somewhere somewhat correctly. No padding, of course. That's why it looks like ass. But we do padding once we get the baseline right. Give me a second. I need to answer a message. I need to organize something. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right. Where were we? Yeah, we did some ascender descender calculation. We can determine the height of the row from the result and then draw the rectangle afterwards, which is what we would do normally. But let's first figure out why the text rendering is broken. Maybe we just step through it, shall we? Like, why not use a debugger if we have one? Oh, wrong project. So we get the row, we compute something that makes sense. We render the text. The first one is fine. We don't need to look at that. So what's the width of the next one? How did it look in here? So we paint this one correctly, but we render the text already in the next column. Oh, that might be because it's right aligned. I bet the right alignment messes this up. So, not bad. I assume. I don't think it doesn't fit. So what's going on here? What's the Haru min and width? Okay, that seems sensible. So this does not apply. We don't find the line then offset. Nope. We have characters. So how much width remains? Oh yeah, that's not enough. Because we don't actually use... So Haru width was 78. And we subtract the... because I say min-x and width and it thing... Yeah, we treat this as an index. Okay, I see. Oh, great. Someone's... Sorry, another break. Someone picked something up. I'm selling some old board games. I'll be right back. Alright, but now we should be able to work undisturbed, hopefully. So the problem is that I put in the wrong arguments. I don't know what the right arguments are though. I'm not sure what I want. Maybe we can close this for a second. So I know actually the width I want, but we treat it as we treat it not as a max width relative to min. Maybe we should do that. This one should be because we computed the width. Well, actually it is fine. We subtract the position. Yeah, that's the... we should do minus haru min x. That's the fix, actually. So if you just specify anything, that's going to be page margin. So this is going to be width minus position is the result. Which is not right for the other cases. If I don't specify anything, I want to reset to the left boundary, and the width I pass in is from the left boundary. If I specify a different x, the distance is from that. Position doesn't really matter. Position is only going to change within our loop to some extent. This seems right, but it's weird that the mad margin cancels out. So I'm not sure about the center term. So what do we want to say? How far have we moved from min x? And that's what we subtract from the total width. We have moved from min x from haru min x. We have moved position x. It looks like this. No, that can't be right. This is what we want. But I have the feeling that we just made the... Oh, maybe it's right. I'm not quite convinced, but we'll just try it. Looks pretty damn good. What do you say? We don't have, like, no, it looks awful. Like, it looks awful. Don't get me wrong. It looks god-awful, but it looks pretty close to what we wanted to have. It's awful because we don't have any padding. It's awful because this one is wrong. But it's close to what we want. Okay, let's remove the nonsense. So we don't add this one. We don't add this one. And then how do we determine the next? Let's just do this for now. That should get rid of all the weird spacing. Yeah, that's a bit tight. Because we don't add any padding afterwards. So we would need to take the height. So we would have to do the following. We would have to let's compute the height, shall we? Call height is row start.y position.y minus row start.y. And then we can say if it index max y is max of max y and position.y, else max y is position.y. And then at the end we say position.y is max y. What's your problem? Oh, yeah, then we iterate by pointer. Thank you, Jai. And then let's render the... No, actually, that's not enough. Whatever. Let's leave it at that, and render the rectangle for the full height for every single for every single cell. Let's render the rectangle. That's not the right rectangle, but this will be, shows us the size of each content. So we say row start y width, and this is not line height, but call height. And that's a very tight fit, as you can see. Why is it so tight? Why is it so tight? Oh, sure, because we don't actually, since nothing here does a new line, we don't move the Y position. So the Y position stays here, so we start the next one right away. So we would have to change this to say the column height is actually the difference, which is all the extra rows that were added, plus one line height. But this is going to be too much. No. This is 0. Column height is going to be 0. Well, but we didn't render it. Oh, we did render it as 0. These are just lines. And so the max y is actually not this one, but it is so cell end is row start dot y plus or minus column height. And this is actually wrong because position is going to go negative the more we write. So so this gets smaller. So we need to add this to get our height. Okay. Ah, man. Getting there, hopefully. This looks good. A bit too aggressive, but good. Now we add too much. Why do we add too much? Oh, and we do it in the wrong direction. This is minus column height. Okay, better. Needs to be smaller. So we add too much. The row start is here. Row start is here. Do we add a new line after the invoice? It seems like it. Yeah. No. Invoice number. Yeah, we have a new line at the end. Okay, so that explains the extra new line here. This one though. We add all of these. None of them in the table should add a new line. Row start is here. Oops, wrong window. Maybe let's do this and let's hide this one. Then we can almost see them side by side. So why is this too big? We say line height. So we add a line height. And then we... Is it that this contains... Let me check. Okay, it's the problem is here. This is not quite right. If nothing creates a new line in here, then position Y is not gonna move, and we're gonna have and the height should be line height. We subtract row start here, which is not quite right because this is not a full position doesn't start here. So we should say this is the start. Text baseline start. something like this. And then this is how much Y has moved, which is going to be all the extra rows. Hooray! That's exactly what I expected. Good. Getting there. It doesn't look quite centered again because we weight the descenders too heavy, but that's, I think that's going to disappear as soon as you add some padding. Like, it's not going to be visible. It's a couple of pixels. Or we need to adjust how we weigh those two. But this is pretty good. Good enough. Let's call it good enough. We don't do the wrapping correctly right now because we just render and compute the height afterwards because compute height is not set. What we actually want to do is compute the height for the whole row, see if the row fits, because let's do something nasty. Let's do this. Let's do it like this. Should be enough to cause an overflow. Okay, so the first thing we see is we don't compute the height correctly. And that's why we don't overflow yet. Let's render every second one with a different stroke type. We should have something like an alternating column index, a row index anyways. So we begin a table, blah, 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 add cell. This is where we basically say num rows plus equals 1. And then we can use this down here to say, to change the stroke style. Let's look at the API, graphics. Set dash. So you say if table num rows modulo 2. And we always clear the dash at the end. We want yeah, that's good enough for my taste. So we say page. This one's a pointer to, okay. We want U16, oops, dots, 3 is fine. Then we say pattern.data, pattern.count, and a phase of 0. And then at the end, we always say set dash null, no, page null. Why do you say it's pointed to uint if it's then float? Are you kidding me? Because it's pointed to float. Thank you, Mr. API documentation. No harm done, easily fixed. So, okay, yeah, we see not much, unfortunately, because it's overlapping so hard. First one, so solid, you know what, let's do this differently. Let's take 2 different dash patterns. With more let's do with 3 with 5 gaps, and the other one is a let's see, 2 and 5. That's relatively thin, if I understand it correctly. And then if we phase shift this by 3, they shouldn't. Let's do 2 and 6. And if we phase shift this by 3, they shouldn't overlap, if I understood it correctly. The documentation is a bit thin. Yes. Okay, good. It's not quite consistent, but you can see where they overlap. This should look differently. So the phase is not quite what I expected, but like it's inconsistent. We said the same thing, but it's a bit inconsistent. Oh no, I think, okay, let's take a different length of pattern so we can distinguish them. Let's take a different color. So RGB stroke. Let's do it red and green. Nice on the eyes. Okay. So now we see the first one. Okay, that's what I thought. That's why it overlapped weirdly in the first line. So the first line is correct. The second line is twice as long because we added a new line. And so we see now that the red box overlaps the whole thing, but we don't move down far enough, the position. So the position, so we render the box correctly, but the y coordinate, like where the row ends, is not computed correctly, so the next row overlaps back into it. We say position is max y. Max y is the max. Oh, this should be minimum. because it's going down. Looks better. And now we see that these are smaller, this is larger. I managed to not, oh yeah, I forgot. No. Why do they overlap so that I don't see the line? This is the only one where they do it proper. Here, they basically overlap, even though I set a phase. Okay, better. I should just have given them a different period. Okay. Now it's a hot mess, but you get the idea. So this is already pretty good. If we now pre-compute the height for all elements and see, so here you see things going off the rails because we break in the middle of the column, which should never happen. And then we're just hosed because all our computations are broken. So next thing we do, pre-compute the height, see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, force the new page and then continue with the table and re-render the header. But we take our wins. We're further than I thought. Well, it's also 6 p.m. almost. It's not completely from scratch. We use libharu for the low-level PDF stuff, like the write single-line text into a PDF. We just do the position calculations, the wrapping, the table layouts, but we don't issue any PDF commands directly. We use libharu for the PDF encoding. Okay. This worries me a bit, but I assume it's just because of the font. The font doesn't support UTF-8. That's my guess. I don't want to deal with embedding the font right now. I first want to get the table layout right. So let's pre-compute the height and do the wrapping. And then let's do the proper borders and padding, etc. Or maybe we should do the height first before we split the code into rendering, and maybe we should do padding first. Let's do padding. So in the example, I want to say set default cell paddings, and that's going to be let's say 3 and 5 for all of them. And then just to be a bit annoying, let's say this one, set cell padding, the header one gets 5 and 7. but only the first and the last. How's that? That just gives us enough trouble computing it. So of course this doesn't exist yet. So we already have padding here in cell style. We have this in column, so all of this should work. Okay. Set default. What did we define padding as? Floats? No. These are vector 2. Set default cell alignments. Let's and we could let's introduce table padding as well, just because we can. So this example will say set padding instead of set cell padding, which means we also need padding vector 2. And now this is not, looks like this. Actually, we don't support asymmetric padding for now. That's silly. You'll see what a difference this makes to making the table not look awful. Hopefully. So we have set default cell paddings, blah blah, document padding is paddings. Come on. Oh, I have a meeting coming up that I almost forgot. So now we need a set padding is padding, and now of course everything needs to respect that padding, which it doesn't. Let's do the padding here. Let's do numbers after it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So let's respect padding. Let's respect padding for the just for the table. Let's be sloppy. So we have padding somewhere. Set default cell paddings. We need to respect these wherever we do alignment stuff. We now need to do padding stuff. Easy. Okay. Padding. Give me a second. Okay, where were we? Padding. If we do this in render text, we make our life easier if we just say padding equals call style padding. Because then we can do it for both easily. The question is, does render text know how to deal with padding? Does padding even make sense if you don't render whole elements? Because if you're in the midst of a row, I guess padding maybe we should call this element padding or something. Maybe we should ignore the global padding at all. Text padding is only for left and top? No. So for the column, it would be all around. For the table, I expected it to. So if I want to like shrink the table so it doesn't fill the whole row, it might be convenient to just set an X padding before I do the table. On the other hand, I could also move the position and shrink the width of the table. Instead of adding an extra padding element, that's weird for inline text. Yeah, I think I'm gonna ditch the idea that padding is something that works in anything but elements. I'm gonna ignore it for text, which means we're not gonna do it here. If you have something like div, we're not doing HTML. There's no such thing as a div. So how would padding affect this one? Line padding needs to be renamed to font padding. I think we can get rid of that logging. So the cell start X is plus min X plus call style padding X. Does this blend? Okay. The Y here, well, nah, this is the cell start. Let's say text start X is cell start X plus call padding X. The width here is going to be renamed to cell width. Let's call this content start X. The text baseline is now my minus call padding Y minus this stuff. Position X is content start X. And content width is cell width minus 2 times call padding X. Then we render the text in here. Min X is actually not right. Did we respect this here? Oh, we don't know. We need something in a different column that also wraps, because I have a bug that we didn't see. This one is gonna wrap on purpose. Because this is min-x is not min-x. Min-x is actually, it would be cell start x, and now it's content start x. And then min-x add, yeah, we add width, that's fine. I'm just okay. The column height is the line height minus how much this moved. Plus call padding. Did I forget padding somewhere? I don't think so. Cell width is not, oh yeah, this is just width. Oh, come on. Padding is cell style, so it is in style. Padding is not a member of cell state. Oh. Okay. Party pooper. Content width. And the rectangle is cell width. Okay, fingers crossed. How does it look? Not right. It looks not right. So it seems to have worked that these two have higher, it's not big enough. Let's make this more extreme. So we say it's 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, 10. Then for this one, it is 10, 15. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So we can see that we apply it here properly, not at the bottom. Things are too low, too far down. So at the end, I somehow messed it up. And we need a column with just long text. Let's just do so that we see where it wraps. So we can judge the padding better. That was not enough. Yeah, so here it's wrong, and this is awkward. Okay, what did we mess up? So the content start X is this one. Oh, we mix whether margins are applied or not. Now. Oh, hello, Tim. Hey, I didn't. Wow, I totally missed the raid for 7 minutes. Sorry, I was focused. Hey, Tim, how was your stream? If anyone's still here, if Tim is still here, I don't know. Yes, this is my third stream today. No, is it? Maybe my second? I can't remember. No, it should be my second, right? No, it's my second, unless I messed something up. It's the third stream that we're working on this one, on this feature. So, hey, Raiders, if you're still here, if you haven't left because I was too focused, we are building a PDF rendering library, and we're currently starting to do table layouts. So this is a fake invoice, and forget the second page, this hose, but we're currently working on just adding padding to the cells. Like the border rendering is obviously just for debugging right now. We don't do proper borders yet. So most of this is debug rendering, but it's turning out all right. This one is weird. So I think this was interesting. We should assert that the position. Yeah, it's just gonna fault if we do this. So min-x, let me look at this. No, actually. Let's do it the other way around. Render text. Min-x is supposed to be, this is in user coordinates, because we add page margin again. And this is one of the things that's broken. Because here we do the margins as well. We shouldn't do margins outside here. So the cell start is min-x. That fixes one of the issues. At least I claim so. That's super broken. Awesome. Very good. I did well. But if we add the margins here, how can this not be right? Oh, because my debug rendering is off. No, not just the debug rendering. Oh, yeah. We have such a craptastic mixture of coordinates right now. We should use it. Maybe we should leverage the type system to prevent us mixing external and internal coordinates. We could do this. This is actually not a bad idea. So these positions are wrong. These need to be now. These need to include. This one needs to include the page margin. And how do we render cell start X? Yeah, cell start now. We need to do this here. Row start, on the other hand, already includes the margin. So this is, yikes. But this should be correct. Yay. Okay. So we got padding top and left correct. Right looks correct as well. We should have taken eyes so we get a closer look at this. Looks correct, roughly. There might fit an eye here, there might not fit one. But we definitely take the padding into account. If we don't, we would overflow. Like there would be another eye here. With padding, it's questionable whether one fits. But on the other hand, at the end, we don't take the padding into account, which is weird because I could have sworn that I did this height. Oh, we adjust the baseline, but we still need to do this here twice. Okay, that fixes this. Yep. Looks proper. And here we don't know, we don't quite know if this is right. This should be right. Hey, what happened to our right alignment? Something happened to our right alignment. We messed right alignment up. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. What happened? Are we not even trying to do this anymore? We set the alignments. We copy it out again. And I assume, oh no, I messed this up. Yeah, I messed this one up. Ah, wrong again. I'm so bad at this. Okay, right alignment works. Good. This braking works. Okay. Now let's make this proper. We have padding. Now let's pre-compute the rows so that, okay, now by accident this is fine. I guess we need some, we need to reduce one of the, now let's just make the padding less ridiculous and then it will sort itself out. So how much do we actually want? I guess the X padding is fine, the Y padding is a bit much. Let's do 5, 8, 5, 6 maybe. 5, 7. 5, 7 it shall be. And let's not give the header, definitely not more X margin. Maybe we want to give it more Y margin. Maybe 5, 10. So we could do the following. We could do this here and then redo it here. That should work. And then 7 should be 10. This looks like a real table, except for the borders, of course. These are, I'm going to keep them until we have, yeah, so this wrapping, this is what we need to fix next. So let's first do the padding, like commit this one. To do the wrapping correctly, we need to set the height, not, oops, and then see if it fits. So we need to do compute height, which is almost exactly this one. Okay. So we iterate over the rows. Skipped rows we don't care about. Min y we don't care about. Really, in this case. So we need to determine the width. Maybe we do this, we save this one as well. So we say column width 0, column width, let's add this one. Okay, then we compute the content width. Hey Nanometer, how was work? I should stop, it's late. I have a meeting in half an hour. I might want to take a break before that. But we're so close. Look at it, Nanometer, we're so close. This is the actual content, like what we render right now. Have you heard of TTCN? Nope. So what we render here is the actual content height of the actual rendered content. And we now need to compute the proper height of the row, which is basically the maximum of these, but without rendering, so that we can do the proper wrapping. Testing system for protocols. Oh yeah, we talked about your testing before. So what do we need? We need to do these computations because we need to set... Actually, no, we don't need the content start. The position shouldn't factor into the width computation. So I think we can drop... I think you can drop this. The line height we know. Font padding doesn't affect. These are all relative. These shouldn't affect anything. But we're going to double check by rendering the frames and our debug frames, and they should overlap. Cell start is min-x. Content start is... We need none of these. Because we're going to say... compute text size. Whatever that takes. We need a version that doesn't. Okay. Copy pasta. This is compute text size with document text font size max width. Word wrapping is something that we would need to copy as well. Let's ignore this for now. Font PDF font size float, and this is now text font size, text font. Okay. Now we can use this one here. Oh, we had this here, text size with document, column, content, text, column, font size. We should move all these state things into a struct that we pass as one thing, and then also copy it as one thing, etc., etc. Doing things for algorithm development, the development of something. Yeah, but isn't that, yeah, that's how things degenerate usually. But good luck. So we want the font, and the max width is going to be content width. And this is going to give us the size. And then to the text size, we simply add plus, no, we say column height is text size that y plus 2 times column style padding that y. And that should be it. Except of course that we need to use max height and then render that. So we say column height is this, and then we say max height is max call height, max height, and then we say for call. We can do this. Do we set the width? Yeah, we set this here. Okay, for call height is max height. Okay, that computes the height. So far, so good. If we had a last row, we do merge borders and render the row, but we already know that the row should fit. So we should say if position dot y minus table current row if this is less than page margins 2, right? This is our condition for wrapping. Yes. Then this won't fit, so we say add page document. Then we need to render the header row again. I'm not sure if we did. Yes, I think we copied that. So we should compute the height on the header when we write it. Begin table blah. Oh, we don't set the header height. Okay. So if it doesn't fit, we add a page. If table header, render row table header. But we had an array copy somewhere. Did I delete this one? Yes. Awesome. Okay. So if we don't fit, we add a new page and we render the header. Add page resets our position. We can assert, like, what do we do if we have a column that doesn't even fit the whole page? This will happen in production, I'm sure. If a column, if a row doesn't fit on the page on its own, this will happen. I don't know yet. Let's make it crash at least. Assert table current row 0. Height is less than get net page height. No, it's worse, because the header might also affect this. Assert that this is greater or equal to the margin. Okay. If we don't have a header, we save this row as the header. And now, oh, this is wrong. So the last row must fit, otherwise we would have already rendered it. So the last row must fit. The question is, do we merge the borders or not? So we say, if we have a last row, this is going to be rendered no matter what. But we say if current row fits, then merge borders before we render. Otherwise, if it doesn't fit, then we need to add a new page after we rendered the previous row, and we need to render the header again. Oh, but we need to merge borders. Ha! We need to render the header multiple times. We need to merge its borders with the row after it. Huh. But that shouldn't destroy its borders. So this is all half correct. It pains me a bit to finish this when I know so many things that are dangling, because tomorrow morning I have to do something else for Fabman, and afterwards I will have forgotten like all the loose ends. So I need to document them properly. So let's try to make this as far as we can. Let's complete this as much as we can. So we rendered the last row. This is fine no matter what. We merged its borders with the current row, which probably modifies. This needs to modify both borders. Okay, so merge borders. We need to have borders and merged borders. That's the solution. Because then we can merge over and over again, and we render just the last merge. So we have borders. And we have merged borders in the cell state. Okay, but we don't even handle borders right now. This is just, I know that this is coming up, so I document it and like put in all the things before because I might not think about all of this the second time around when we actually do the borders. So if I already know that these cases are coming up, I can think about them and solve them. Okay. So we started a new row. We rendered the header if we had one, a new page. If we don't have a header, this is now our header. And now the question is, can we so we can now fix this one. Merge borders, table header, table current row. Then we render the header. And then what else do we need to do? If we started a new page, we can't render the new row because we don't know the borders of the next one. So we just set it as the last row. We should swap the old last is table last row, just to be slightly more memory efficient. Okay. Is this already everything we need to do? We compute the height. Check if it fits. We render the last row. We create a new page. We move the current row to the last row. And then at the end, we say if we have a last row, we already merged the headers, merged the borders, we computed the height, so this should work. Okay. Column width, yeah, my bad. We need nothing of this, I think. Okay. Let's see if I broke anything. Yes, I did. And our line numbers are wrong, which makes this hard. Weird. Weird that they're wrong. Nope, wrong project. Let's close this maybe. So document position should be pretty high. Document position is a lot. No, Y is actually very little. Y is little so low after. Oh, yeah, damn it. This is wrong. So here I haven't taken into account that the last row takes up some slack, takes up some space. Okay. Yes, Nanometer, I said that I want to do this. I just didn't want to make it more complicated because if I do, maybe I should have done it initially. I wanted to do it and I was like, no, let's just get this working, the basic setup working before I do the flip. And now I never flipped. And now I'm like just grumpy about the flipping. Like it is annoying to have the position in the bottom left, but I didn't want to have another abstraction that makes it harder to spot errors. But now I make mistakes all the time, which was exactly why I wanted to flip it. So we say y after last row minus current row height. This is if current row fits. So this should save us the assert. Yes. And now we wrap properly, like proper. Do you see this? Like we would fit the line here, but we realized that all inclusive wouldn't fit. So we take the whole row, move it to the next page. We recreate the header, do the whole thing. Nice. We don't render the border yet. So the next, one more thing before I stop for today. One more tiny thing. But let's commit what we have. Implement row wrapping to the next page if necessary. But we're pretty close. Like, this is, honestly, this is like 80% of what I need for my invoices. Like, if we now do the remaining 80%, we're done. No, but this was easier than I thought. We picked our constraints right. Like, we could have made this way harder. But this is already nice. Getting this one to render on the right page is trivial. Like, I'm not scared of that. That's just not implemented yet. Doing the proper borders is going to be slightly annoying, but not hard. The only hard thing that really remains is the rich text stuff, converting the HTML to something that looks decent on the invoice and represents what the user wanted. That's going to be not super hard, but annoying. It involves XML parsing and like making sure that we don't succumb to like malicious content and things like that. Apart from that, it's just peanuts. It's picking a nicer style for this, like doing a nicer UI for the table and for the like picking a nicer font, nicer graphics, proper font with euro signs, like lots of tiny stuff. But this is now 2 days of work where 50% of the first day was just discussing what we might do. So this is 1.5 days of work and we're pretty damn close. So one tiny thing that I want to do in render row. So we render this debug stuff. Let's render a second debug rectangle. And this one is oh, we do call height here. Oh, we recompute call height. No, that's not. No, I don't want this, and I don't want. So min y is just row 0. So I'm just gonna weed this out a bit. So we have row start. So this is row start.y minus row 0.height. And here I wanna do row start.y, call width, call height. We don't need to update the height here. We don't need to do this anymore. Cell end y. We don't need. Well, let's do it as a comparison. This min y we don't need. Let's take this one versus the one we pre-computed. Basically, that's what I'm interested at. How much do they overlap? And they overlap. So this is the actual content height. You see that the content height of these cells is lower, of course, than what we rendered, but this now renders the proper table, including call span, by the way. Awesome. Okay, and if we like column height, we only need in here. So you go away. Min x we need. Yeah, this starts to look like something. I've seen worse. Like, not judging, of course, they're like, as I said, this is god awful. Like, the font is awful, like the black borders are awful. This is just for debugging. But this is getting somewhere. I'm happy. We have like wrappable text in columns with alignment, with breaking across pages. I'm happy. The footer is gonna, we don't include the footer here. We completely forgot to include the footer in our computations. But apart from that, like, that's minor. We're gonna see that as soon as we start rendering the footer properly. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Thanks for coming by. I hope this was interesting. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna continue with this. This is promising. Like, if it takes us, let's say, 4 days of work to not deploy an embedded Chromium with our backend, and also like render PDFs instantly instead of like remote controlling your Chromium or something to convert HTML to PDFs, that's a win. Like, I'm willing to invest a week of work for that. So that's good. Hooray for reinventing the wheel. And also, like, this is a relatively lightweight. Like, we're at 680 lines of code. Compared to, like, this is less than I don't know. What standard PDF are you targeting? I don't care. I really don't care. Anything that someone can open. Yeah. Copyable? What do you mean with copyable? Oh, you mean if it renders the text properly? That's a good point. I can't say, like, it looks like you can. Like, it should be copyable anyways, honestly. Like, since we're just rendering text, like, there shouldn't be anything that breaks this. But yes, copyable. Like, if we take this, it looks okay, except for the M's, of course. But since preview now also does this, like, if this was just a screenshot, it would work as well. So it's hard to say if this is preview or... So now I just took a screenshot of this somewhere, and I can select the text here as well, as you can see. Oh, not quite as well. So the I's are skipped because, like, this is just what macOS does. Like, I can, in any image, I can now select any text. So, but this seems to be the PDF version of that. Dinner's ready? Nope, dinner's not ready. Okay, I have a call in 2 minutes, so I don't even have time to find a rate target, honestly. Thanks for coming by. I hope this was interesting. We'll continue this eventually. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, maybe Thursday, can't say yet. But we'll continue this. This is fun and interesting and productive. So, bye.